Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Semanti-Cast. This is episode 13? I don't know. I counted the Nintendo Direct as its own special bonus episode, so it's either 12 or 13.
Worst Final Fantasy is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, obviously, Gabe back here again. You know, he's a recurring guest at this point. You know, the recurring co-host guest.
Am I really?
No.
I feel like it's self-promote myself here.
No, for sure. You are the co-host of the show.
Hell yeah.
Today, we have some fun things to talk about. Recently, we've been really getting into, if you've been watching the show, you kind of recognize how different we are when it comes to our opinions on games and how we look at games and how we play games. So today, we're going to be talking a little bit about our, what do they call it? Gamer profile?
Quantic gamer types.
Oh, yes. Quantic gamer types.
Gamer motivation profiles.
Interesting. And last week, Gabe challenged me to not necessarily form an opinion on something, but to discover an opinion that I have and try to present it to the class with a thesis. Yeah. And I have that. We'll talk about that later. But I think we should start talking about our gamer profiles. It sounds so cringe.
It is. But I mean, it's interesting,
Yeah.
It does, of course, with every personality test kind of deal, take it with a grain of salt.
Oh yeah. No, for
but
sure.
I do think in a lot of ways it does reflect certain trends,
Yeah. And I'll definitely link these in the description, but definitely check this whole thing out and maybe do it for yourself.
If I may ask, Scott, because I did this myself, I don't know if you did. But before I saw what yours was, I kind of tried to pin you.
Oh yeah, same.
At one of the 9 types.
Same.
So
oh really? The 9 types. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me look at the 9.
I mean, and other stuff as well. But I actually wasn't right.
Interesting.
But because I guess in the terms of this profile, you are a bard.
Yeah, that's what they just. I'm surprised it didn't. Hunter. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it didn't go with the bounty hunter as the main thing.
Oh, I didn't.
And I expected bard to be maybe secondary, but
okay. So then technically I was right because I had you pegged as a bounty hunter.
Interesting. Yeah. No, the bounty hunter definitely fits me as well as bard. I think both fit me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't look at what they were beforehand, but I kind of knew what to expect from yours personally. I will say I'm a little surprised by one of yours percentage scores, but we'll get to that.
That was the next thing I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
because I have one that from yours I was like, Jesus Christ, that is not what I expected.
Yeah. So
I am the acrobat.
Yes,
and we'll go into what these mean because
it
splits it into 6 major categories of kind of generalized motivations or things you enjoy. But then those are split into 12 sub things that are more specific, which I find to be a bit more interesting.
Yeah, no, I like looking at the data. The
data. Okay. One thing I noticed is that I am more polar than you are.
Yeah, you definitely are a little more black and white, kind of.
What I find funny about mine is that I for any of the major categories, I have very high in one of the sub ones and very low in the other.
Yeah, for sure.
I have above average and below average in the other, except for one.
Yeah, category. Mastery. That one I knew would be high for you. I knew that whole thing would be super high, no matter what.
Yeah. But I guess I'll just open up with the one that surprised me the most, Scott.
Okay.
Christ, 95% in destruction.
Yeah. I think that's my Call of Duty Halo brain personally, and apparently GTA The Sims, according to this. But no, that one I expected it to be high, but that high, little scary, a little scary there. But yeah, no, I do like games. I just think of Just Cause, that series. I love those games because you just literally go and blow things up. It's great.
Yeah. So which one which was the one that you were surprised by? I have 2 ideas for what it might be.
Okay,
so.
I'm kind of surprised how low your creativity is. I was expecting it to be higher overall, mainly just because at least the way you play Smash Bros. To me is oh, he's a creative player, but I don't know. Like I was surprised how low that was, but then it made me think like, oh, okay, you don't really like games like Minecraft all that much, and
Yeah.
so okay, that makes sense. But I don't know. That one was surprising.
I am wondering how it splits the average.
Yeah,
because like Discovery, I'm like 56%, so I'm a little bit above average.
Design though, yeah.
Design 5%.
Yeah, I mean that's something I really care about in games is like being able to customize my character and the world around me.
The thing I also thought you were gonna bring up how I'm actually above average on story.
Yeah, you were definitely higher than I expect. Like not that I expected, often, but
I mean, keep in mind, of course, that 50% is the average.
Yeah.
Of anyone who's taken this, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that, you know.
I mean, mine was definitely where I thought it would be, both fantasy and story.
Speaking of fantasy, 8% for fantasy.
Yeah, interesting. So fantasy, gamers who score high on fantasy want their gaming experiences to allow them to become someone else, somewhere else. So basically, the role-playing element kind of idea.
Role-playing immersion.
Yeah. And I know that because I know like we talk a lot about, or I've talked a lot about immersion and how a game immerses me, and you're always like, what does that mean? Like what how does that how do you do that?
Yeah, what does it happen?
Yeah. And the games that it lists, you know, those make sense. Like Skyrim followed a Mass Effect, like boom, that makes total sense to me for that. With like those emergent gameplay systems aren't really there for you, you know.
I found it funny how for the Acrobat type, the first two games in the popular games category are Spelunky and Celeste, and those were two of the games that I put in.
That's funny. So it asks like recent games you're enjoying and then like just games in general you've been playing. So I'm curious, what recent games did you say for the?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Like 2 weeks ago. Okay. Yeah. For me, I did Persona 5 Strikers because that's like been my jam for the past month, really. And then I did Final Fantasy VII Remake because I was just feeling it, you know. And I did Last of Us Part 2 because obviously. I thought about trying to, you know, put in Ghost of Tsushima over like Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I was like, I didn't really like. I finished the game, but I don't know. Like, it's definitely grown on me more. But yeah,
I think those are the games I went with. Closest in.
Yeah, what is the one?
I think we're closest in competition.
That makes sense. I would say.
Yeah, I'm a little bit above you. I'm like 9% above you.
It's definitely weird because I really enjoy playing like arena shooters and like single player RPGs, and so those kind of contrast each other, and so I think that kind of demonstrated itself in my results here. Because like I love me some Halo competitive multiplayer, but I also just like chilling in the mountains of Skyrim, so it's interesting how that came out.
Yeah.
But they do both say that they're kind of solo. So Bounty Hunter is a solo player, and then the Bard is the team player, which kind of fits me. So that does kind of work there. And then yours is basically solo player.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff with this. Let's see. I definitely don't have as high of destruction. Like I have 93 in excitement, but 22 in destruction.
Yeah.
80 in competition, 19 in community.
I have to say, I'm surprised my excitement wasn't that high, because I don't know.
I think I'm surprised my excitement was that high.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's like if I were to tweak it a little bit, hypothetically, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. I'd bring down excitement a little bit, probably buff discovery and strategy a little bit more, and story just a little bit more as well. You know?
Yeah. No, I get you. Especially like because I know, you know, you've claimed Persona 5 is one of your favorite games, and that's a very story-heavy game, so it makes sense.
Yeah, dude. But like, one thing I find interesting is we both are fairly low on power.
Yeah, that's interesting to me because I really like. I always say Halo is a power fantasy, at least the single-player campaign is. And so, like, that's one of my main reasons I really enjoy it, is because it's a power fantasy, blah, blah, blah. Doom is a power fantasy, all these things. And so it's like, I'm surprised my definition of power is different, you know?
Because the definition of power for this is, like, stats.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Like, getting new equipment and stuff, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that one's a little harder to get in a... Like, the questions they were asking, I didn't really... There was one question, it was like, do you like collecting powerful loot and gear? And I said, like, yes, a lot I do, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was just like, I guess.
I'm not like min-maxing though, so.
Gear is boring. I want the new moves. I do want to take something back I said last time. Last time I claimed
Whoa.
that I didn't care about Pokemon.
Oh, yeah?
So I went back and I checked. And on my 3DS, I have 92 hours in a save file in Pokemon X.
Wow.
With over half of the national decks completed.
Oh my god. Wow.
So in the box, I have like most of the first gen ordered.
Wow.
Like I have a Bulbasaur and an Ivysaur and then a Venusaur.
Oh my god. It's funny how that comes back to you.
Turns out I do care. I do actually care.
Hey, that's all right.
So that's probably why I'm salty. But
no, it's all good. I don't know. My Pokemon opinions last week were very like fence sitting, I'll admit.
I get it. But yeah, I know,
Pokemon X and Y. It's I just looked up how long to beat. 31 hours for the main story, 71 for main and extras, and then 200 for the completionist. Although I don't know if that's counting both games or just one game, but
I wouldn't know. Let's assume it's just the one.
Yeah, no, that makes far more sense.
It's definitely not a 15-hour solo.
Yeah, no. All right.
Are you gonna? Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay, I was gonna ask you if there's any more like last final thoughts on Quantic gamer profiles.
Quantic gamer profile.
I'm glad we did this though. Like this is really interesting to me. Because there are things we do score similarly high in, like action, but most everything else, you and I are almost opposites. But it's interesting.
Hey man, that's good. Like yeah, dude, mastery and achievement are my two zones.
I'm trying to figure out.
And those are your two non-zones.
Yeah.
And your two zones are immersion and creativity, and those are my two non-zones. We're both, somewhat in the above middle action and social.
Yeah. I'm surprised you like. I think it's just what I think of as creativity when it comes to games. Like I'm surprised that's low for you, but then again, it's just how they define it.
I would say like, I mean, at least from what I would think of it as, that would.
I mean, you probably know yourself better. So
true, and you know yourself better than I know you.
Yeah, true. True.
But I would personally think it falls more into like mastery.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I was thinking about this because the mastery section, it definitely like mine's super low, and I've talked about this how I'm like, yeah, I don't really think the Dark Souls games are for me, and those are like one of the main games they list in the challenge and strategy. Although strategy I definitely have higher because I do enjoy like tactic games like Fire Emblem, turn-based games like Final Fantasy and Persona. So that makes sense, but
you can still am a little bit above that.
Yeah,
dude, just that hard stuff, dude. That's where I am.
It's interesting. I mean, it makes sense that City Skylines is on there, but whenever I play City Builders, I always play in like free mode, so I never have to worry about resources or anything like that. So it's interesting.
All this does is further proof the established dynamic between us of I'm the gameplay boy and you are the story man.
Yeah, no, for sure. And and
of course that doesn't mean that we don't enjoy the other side, of course,
right. I definitely think though that since
I do have a 6% in story.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I definitely think since both of us have pretty high action, that just we enjoy playing games in general, so just interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely, like, this was really good to do. I wish. I mean, we can look at game recommendations for each profile and see what it comes up with, but like for some reason the top one they have for the acrobat is Dragon Ball Fighter Z. All right, Smash Bros, Cuphead, Street Fighter 5, Mario 64. Sekiro, DMC 5, yeah, there you go. Tekken 7, Action Binding of Isaac, interesting, yeah. And then for mine,
Binding of Isaac is the game that I've tried like a bunch. But
yeah, I know you're not all that crazy.
I know it's
about
good.
It.
I just don't like it.
And then for me, I'm assuming it's for the Bard, probably. Gary's Mod.
I think it like
a game I have like 4 hours on Steam. GTA San Andreas, The Outer Worlds, Halo 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout. Some of these, yeah, no, for sure. Interesting. What about niche games?
Red Dead 2.
Niche. Star Wars Battlefront is a niche game? I don't know about that. Super Mario Run. Halo Reach? Okay, it definitely knows I like Halo. That's funny. I didn't mention Halo at all, so it knows me. It definitely knows me.
Life is Strange.
Oh man, I want to play those. I do. I don't know. They scare me, but I want to play them. They seem, I don't know. Everyone like people in the speedrunning community love those games for some reason.
What is there to speedrun?
No, like I tend to notice that people that speedrun, like whenever I'm in their chats or whatever, they all like they seem to like Life is Strange. Not like those are related, but it's interesting.
I think it just calls me out at times, because at times it's like, oh god, this is like hipster stuff, and I'm like,
I love hipster stuff.
This can't be me. This can't be me.
Apparently,
the main character says hella, and I say hella. No,
yeah, you do.
I'm not like that.
Yes, you will be. I don't know. They do seem to get weird, though, for sure.
Yeah, there's like supernatural elements and stuff.
Yeah, I know that spin-off game that they did looked weird. But anyways, this is not the Life is Strange podcast. But unless you have further things to say, I would like to move on. But you are free to speak your mind.
Nah, I think
all
I'm
right.
good.
Well, so the controversial issue.
Okay, so what is this thing?
Opinion that I decided to go with. You know, it's at the peak of America's most heated debates, right? And that is, what is the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, or what is your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie? And I've really given a lot of thought
in here to call me out.
Yeah, I definitely have given a lot of thought to this because I've seen all these movies a bajillion times and all that. I love them; they're great. My freaking profile picture is Wanda Maximoff. I'm into them, and there are definitely some that I like more than others. And I'm just gonna go right out and say it. I honestly really do think that my favorite, it's a toss up between Infinity War and Endgame. It really is. And like out of all 24 of them, it's like I picked those two. And I know Endgame's not the popular pick, but I never said it was the best. It's my favorite, and that's just kind of how I'm feeling. You know, I think Endgame has really good emotional moments that make it stand a little higher for me over Infinity War, even though I love a lot about that movie.
Before we go on, may I ask how you feel about WandaVision as a whole now that's ended? I know the finale was kind of controversial.
I liked it. I liked pretty much all of it. I can definitely see where people are coming from. I won't get into spoilers, but like I feel like the show could have been maybe 7 episodes or 6 episodes. It definitely could have been a lot shorter. A lot of the sitcom episodes they did definitely felt a little dragged out. But upon rewatching like each episode, especially the first like 3 or 4, or I guess the first 3, it's like every line of dialogue or like every little moment with the characters is so like I don't want to say important, but very introspective towards who they are as a person. So there's just a lot of lines that Wanda will say about herself or Vision or the world around her that it's like, oh, that says a lot about Wanda. Same with Vision and stuff like that. And then as more characters are introduced, it's interesting, and I liked that a lot. It was definitely more of a character building show, which I really liked. It was a slow burn. It wasn't crazy action every episode, which I have a feeling that the next show is going to be, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But no, I did enjoy it a lot. There were things that, of course, it's like with everything, it's like, oh, I thought that was kind of stupid, or they could have done that better. But it's like that happens with everything. That happens with Endgame and Infinity War. You know, it's like I can look at those and say, oh, they should have done that, or I wish they did this. But overall, I did really enjoy it. It has me excited for the future. I don't know if you finished it, but
I haven't even started watching.
Oh, okay. It's worth the watch, maybe. I don't know. It's weird because I have a feeling that I don't think I'm ever really going to go back to those first episodes ever, because it's like I've watched them like 3 times now, going through the show and rewatching episodes before the new episodes and stuff. But it's like I don't know how important season 1 episode 2 of WandaVision is going to be when you go to watch Avengers 5 in 7 years, you know? It's like, I don't know. But, I don't know. It was a good show.
Avengers 17 this time.
This time it's super personal. Yeah, I don't know. I think the vibe the show is going for just really worked for me. I know some people weren't too into the humor, but it's like you have to remember its humor is pulling from other genres and eras, so it's like that's kind of part of it. But I could just tell like all the actors were having so much fun. It reminded me of acting in high school and just being on stage and having fun, but also taking it seriously and all that. And so I don't know. It just brought a warmth to my heart, and the finale was very emotional, and you know, it was good stuff. Good stuff.
You just remind me of what I was gonna bring up about the motivation profiles.
Oh yeah.
Like for immersion, even in high school, in theater and stuff, whenever it was like get into character, I was like, nah, not.
Oh yeah, no, that's funny. No. You just acted. No, you just said the lines.
No, I just did it. I was always like, I am going to say my line now.
I am man, and I say line. No, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
I get you.
But you know, it's kind of poetic that this is how it goes. Because honestly, like, you know, probably one of the first things we ever actually like discussed and like disagreed on was Endgame.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's where we got our start, and now it's finally looping back.
Exactly. I mean, I mostly remember you and I chatting before even Infinity War came out about like just Marvel stuff, and obviously I remember Endgame discussion, like a bunch.
Because that movie is polarizing in certain ways.
Yeah, it's interesting. Go ahead.
Your thesis of
the
it has some crazy, like super well done emotional moments. 100%.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And really good payoffs and stuff.
Endgame is the movie of like, man, I really like the ideas they had, but the bread is moldy. Like it's held together by Band-Aids.
Yeah. See, and it's funny because I look at the movie and I'm like, man, it's so like cool that they didn't really care and they just were like, let's do it, you know? Like, let's just do a time travel movie. Screw it.
Yeah.
Let's chop off Thanos' head, destroy the Infinity Stones, and jump ahead 5 years. Let's do it, you know? It's like...
I love that. It's just like, there's a lot of things, but there's just a couple things that I'm like, man, I'm disappointed in this part. Like, when Captain America, like, got Mjolnir, I was like, oh, I popped off.
Yeah, I did too.
That's still one of the best moments.
It was so good.
But it's also like, man...
It's hard to believe the movie's almost 2 years old.
I know, right? I'm kind of disappointed in the fact that the final like showdown was just like
murky
faceless army versus faceless army in gray.
I mean, that's like, how it always is, man.
I don't know, man. I would have killed, no matter how stupid it would have been, for like to go hella video game in on it and then have like somehow arbitrary reasoning. You like you just cut off Thanos and like Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
Thor, and then just have them do a thing for a bit. Like they already did that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of what they had to write the movie around that. The army wasn't there yet, so but yeah, I get what you mean. I do get what you mean.
I mean, it's really shows the depth and attachment we had to these characters.
Yeah.
That by far, I think the most like intense scene in the movie was the one with Hawkeye and Black Widow.
Oh my god, I know, right? Like I love how going into that no one knew. Like no one knew who was gonna die. And I loved that. It wasn't like, it's gonna be Natasha. It's gonna be him.
I didn't know enough about what their projects were. Because was it revealed at that point that Black Widow was a prequel?
I can't remember, but we definitely knew it was a thing. So
I mean, because at that point we knew that a Hawkeye show was happening, and a Black Widow movie was happening.
Yeah, no, yeah, but
I just didn't know.
You're kind of right.
So I was like, "What do you mean they both have things happening?"
Yeah, no, it was definitely one of those moments where it was like, "Wow, I what are they gonna do?" And you know, they went with Natasha, and I think it's definitely fitting, but. Because her character was far more a focus in the movies, whereas Barton was always kind of on the side.
Yeah, he didn't really get
Yeah,
any.
he was an
I mean, to be
OG
fair,
six,
Buffalo didn't
but
get much
yeah,
development at all.
yeah,
Um, but I hope Black Widow is good.
me too. I don't
I
care about
hope
that
they
movie,
don't
but I
waste
hope it's good.
Taskmaster. I hope they don't waste
Oh, I
Taskmaster,
know.
and I know they're going to.
He's gonna show up and just die or something. I don't know.
Dude, Taskmaster is like my favorite D tier Marvel character.
Yeah, it
Up
has.
there with Moon Knight, and they're both getting things.
Yeah, dude, Moon Knight's actually filming right now. We're
Dude,
waiting. We're waiting for set photos to leak. It hasn't happened yet, but
it's gonna be the one show I watch just because of how committed I've been to this.
yeah, I'm super excited. Like just that whole what they're going for. I hope it's good.
How the hell are they making a show out of Moon Knight?
I don't know, man. I can't believe they made a movie about Civil War. Like I'm still at that phase of my life.
That's like a cool thing that happened.
I know.
And people liked. Like,
yeah.
Moon Knight, he's down there at the bottom of the barrel with Speedball. Like,
yeah. No, that's fair.
Mr. Haha Kinetic Energy Man.
Yeah,
like,
it's Wonder Man, Plastic Man. No, I get you. It's
like, what? Why? I mean, I guess they did that with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, yeah, everyone thought they were crazy when they were doing that, and look at them now, it's freaking household names.
Look at them now, best movies in the cinematic.
There you go. I was gonna ask you what are your top 3 at least, but I know Guardians is up there.
I still really like Homecoming.
Interesting. That one's fallen down for me. Both the Spider-Man movies have kind of fallen down for me over the years.
Far From Home is a little sus, but like I don't know, no other Spider-Man movie has gotten that like high school vibe.
No, you're right.
Down pat, you know?
Yeah.
Like that.
Because every other Spider-Man was just like a 20-year-old, 30-year-old guy. It didn't work.
I mean, he still is a 20-year-old guy.
Yeah, I know. But it worked.
I'm like it's just the type of, I guess I should put it more as like none other got like Peter Parker done right.
No, I totally get what you mean.
In the way, like, you know, even though the original first two is like, oh yeah, they're great. You know, they're a little jank.
Yeah.
But that's kind of expected.
I mean, I love Spider-Man 2, and I'll admit, it's a little,
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man 3 is,
yeah. I like that movie, but it's definitely,
And then the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, oh god.
Christ.
I'll always remember seeing 2 in the theater and just counting down to when Gwen would die.
Dude, I did that too.
Oh, so good.
Oh man, why did we hate Gwen so much?
I just think we just didn't care about the movie. So we're just like, please, just get it over with.
Yeah, was it just a thing of like, oh man, this movie's bad, so here it
comes? No, yeah, I feel like I kind of knew going. Well, I didn't like the first one at all.
Oh, we all.
And so it's like going into the second one, I was like, oh gosh, they're gonna do Sinister Six and the Green Goblin and blah blah blah, all these things, and on top of like his main plot. Oh god, finding his parents. It just off the bat, I was like, oh no, it's not gonna be good. And then there's like 2 planes about to crash into each other.
Oh my god, that happened.
And Gwen is actually the one to divert them, I think. If I remember correctly. How? She has to go to like a control tower with all the electricity stuff, and she has to like send a radio message or something. I don't remember properly.
Oh my god, you're right. I remember.
And she's like on the radio, and oh gosh, yeah, no, it's
the first Amazing Spider-Man still had like one of the better Stan Lee cameos.
Yes, it's a little long, but yes. I agree.
I think it's a really good bit. I think it's a fun bit. But yeah, the Tom Holland Homecoming version of Spider-Man is one of my favorites. It's not my favorite though.
Yeah.
I still think PS4.
Yeah. People love PS4 boy a lot.
And then they ruined him.
Yeah, made him look but now weird. We got Miles, so
Yeah, cool. Like, I still like the character and all that, but it's just like, man, why'd you change his face?
Yeah,
he looks like I did 4 years ago.
I feel like he looks like he would be older than me or something. It's weird. I don't know. But yeah, that's something about Spider-Man that I like. That there are like just so many different versions of him. Whereas forever, it was just there was one Tony Stark. Even though you had comics going on the side and stuff, and TV shows and games, or not TV shows, but games and stuff. But it's like, no, there was really only one Tony Stark, and now he's dead, so...
I mean, every Spider-Man movie is now just going to be playing the Beat Spider-Verse game.
Yep. Oh God. I know. I
Because
know.
it's the best one,
Yes, it's
baby.
really good. It's really good. Spider
It is.
Verse. I went into that movie super skeptical, like especially after Amazing Spider-Man 2 and then Venom, or I think Venom came out after. No, Venom came out before, I think.
Yeah, Venom came out before. It was the first. I mean, also Homecoming was before.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah, I went into that going like it's a Sony animated movie, like oh god, I don't know, and it's
dude, like
literally one of the best animated movies ever. Like it's so good.
I was dragged out to see it because it was my birthday when I saw it,
Wow, you
and they
saw it
were like,
after me then.
yeah, and my family was like, come on, let's go see the movie. It's Spider Man. I'm like,
Yeah,
fine, I guess. And then
yeah.
bada bing, bada boom.
I heard by word of mouth. I was like, oh, it's good. What? And then I went to see it, and I was like, oh, it's good. And then I saw it like 3 more times. So yeah, it's a solid one, and I hope that whatever they do with that is good. You know, like the
Oh,
sequel and whatever else. I do hope they know what they're doing, and I feel like they do, but I don't know
even if it sucks, I can take the original on its own.
exactly. Yeah,
I can do it. It's not. It's fine. Like it's harder when it's like the second in a trilogy.
yeah. No, I
That's
agree.
bad. But when it's the first, it's like nope, it ends.
Yep, it's
It ends
over.
here.
Yeah,
Like there's that phrase where it's like every frame's a painting, and most of the time I'm like, yeah, nah.
yeah.
But that movie, I'm like, yeah, huh.
Yeah, no, that movie's it's so solid.
There's some shots where I'm like, yeah, I'd put this on my
It's
wall.
art, yeah, just pure art. Yeah, no,
And
that
the style, Jesus
and I
Christ.
love how like that movie's almost 3 years is gonna turn 3 years old this year, and it's like people are still talking about it and raving about it. It's like I see a like I see Spider-Verse trending on Twitter like at least every other month. Like people love that movie, and it's well deserved, really. Like,
Is it the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movie?
well, it's not a Marvel
Yeah.
Cinematic Universe movie.
I don't care.
It could be.
Who cares about Homecoming?
You.
We got it.
I will
Number
say, looping back
one, baby.
to Endgame, kind of, I think why it plays into being like one of my favorites, if not my favorite, is I'm a sucker for a really good ending, like a satisfying kind of bittersweet ending, and Endgame gave that. Like it I don't know. I love an ending that's like kind of unsatisfying but also satisfying. It's so weird. The way that movie ends is just so I don't want to say perfect, but I'm gonna say perfect. It's just like I don't know. It's so good. Like the credits roll, and you just feel so happy but sad at the same time, and it's such a good feeling. I don't know how to really explain it, but
Endgame is the movie where I'm just like, man, I love like how much should I say?
it's like a 3 hour
Like
movie, so probably
I
like
love like
10%.
70% of this.
70? Wow,
That 30% that I don't like, I am just not into at all.
interesting.
Maybe 7. I think like the last hour, aside from the ending,
The
like
Cap stuff, yeah.
a lot of it is like, okay,
I
this is
mean,
kind of
yeah, like how much the Captain America thing bothered me, right? Like I don't know. I sat and thought about that one for a while, and it's like the creators can't really agree on it, but like I've kind of come to terms with it in my own headcanon, so it doesn't really bother me personally, but like I know there are people that are like it's selfish and stupid, it doesn't make sense, blah blah blah, and like I get it, but
I
I
like
don't
what he
care.
does. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I like
And
it's
then
annoying when people criticize. I'm not saying you do this, but one thing I notice. This is me standing my ground.
you can crash.
But yeah, one
You crash on me. Okay,
one
you
thing
earned
I
it. You got
notice. I'm not specifically trashing you, but it's one thing I notice when people criticize this movie is like the time travel doesn't make sense, and then they completely explain the time travel incorrectly, and it's like I think that's part of it for people is the time travel didn't make sense to them, or they didn't really understand it, or like listen with their ears. But it's like a lot of the criticisms I hear about the movie are like, well, if they went to the past, wouldn't that change everything in the future? But it's like the movie that's not how it works. And I know you
like
probably
an
know that, but yeah,
like an alternate
every time they go to the past and they change something, it splits off, like, and it creates its own timeline kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so in order to close that timeline, they have to go and fix what they changed. Yeah. And every time an Infinity Stone is removed, it also complicates things. But yeah, it's not a closed what do they call it? Not a closed system. Yeah, it is like a closed system kind of thing where the where they were before in the past is no longer like the past. What do they say? The past is now your present or something like that. Yeah, that's what they say. Like when you leave. Oh god, I'm confusing you
it's
myself.
Time travel. It's time travel.
I don't know, and like the other thing too, and I know you could write this off as lazy writing, but the movie literally tells you don't worry about it. Like I know that doesn't sound good, but the movie says like 3 or 4 times like don't worry about it. It'll work out, and it does. But I don't know. That's how I look at it. The movie itself is kind of like it'll work. You know? I don't know.
I think partially is like, man, because I do think Infinity War is like probably the best. Like, okay, we're getting big pants here.
Before you do that, just to throw it out there, Infinity War actually has a lower, and I know Rotten Tomatoes is not objective standard, but Infinity War actually has a lower critic score than Endgame, which I think is interesting.
Cool.
Because I would agree that Infinity War is an objectively better movie.
Yeah, there we go. You said the word.
Yeah, I did. I said it.
About to be like, I think I might say Infinity War is like the genuinely best made.
No, yeah.
Film.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
You know, so the next one I was like, baby.
The first 5 minutes of Infinity War is just like, holy shit, this is everything I have ever wanted. Ever. I wanted to see Thanos fighting the Hulk. I wanted to see Infinity Stones in the Infinity Gauntlet. I want to see, portals and Power Stone destruction and Loki being killed for the 15th time. It's like, oh my god. And then, he lands on Earth, and then Doctor Strange. It's like, everything about that movie is just like, oh, it's so good. And I don't know. Endgame did that for me as well. Like, I don't know. It just both work for me very well.
For me, it's the epitome of I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's still a really good movie. It's still definitely on the level of the other MCU films.
Yeah.
But I walked in and I was like, oh baby, it's gonna be like Infinity War.
Yeah, I do remember walking out of it and kind of being like, yeah, that wasn't as good as Infinity War. Like, I pretty much thought that right away, and I still think that, but it's like when I think of which one I'd rather watch, I probably would rather watch Endgame, which is weird because I fucking love the ending of Infinity War, but it's like I don't know, it's like sometimes it's like you watch Infinity War and it feels like the whole thing was kind of pointless, even though that's not at all what it is. It's just like, I don't know. It's interesting because like you watch Infinity War and you're like, man, I feel like crap now, and I don't like myself, and blah blah blah.
Like dude, it's so weird that Captain Marvel came out in between.
Yeah. Oh man, I think that was one of my more bigger.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, oh wow, man.
Probably my biggest disappointment with the MCU in general so far has been, well, first of all, it was actually their handling of Wanda Maximoff, but they've done better. And then Captain Marvel's portrayal. I just, like for years I'd been talking about how I cannot wait for her movie and for her to show up at some point. And Infinity War ends with her little beeper, and I was like, oh my god, hell, let's go. And then the movie comes out, and it's like, oh. Like the best part of the movie is the end credits when she's like, where's Fury? And oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. That movie definitely disappointed me.
Remember when Wanda had a thick Russian accent for one movie?
Yeah, the show actually kind of makes fun of that, and it's pretty funny.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. I won't say anything, but it definitely pokes fun at that.
I need to both watch it and The Mandalorian. I haven't watched Disney Plus. Yeah,
no. Definitely. Ooh. We'll do a Star Wars episode someday, but dude, it's got to be when you've watched it.
Star Wars.
Don't get me started on BS Star Wars. I hate it. I hate it. I hate Star Wars. But I guess for you, because I've gushed a lot, what is, like, I know you do really enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy, but what are some of your favorite MCU movies? You said Homecoming and
we
Guardians.
Can kind of go through it. We can kind of just go through it.
I mean, to be fair, I have all the posters in order in front of me, so it's kind of my thing.
I can't judge. I have a nearly complete Pokedex in order. So,
No, I don't know.
So
I
can't judge.
Go ahead.
I have no self-respect
That's
anymore.
all good. I even have my
But,
original ticket of when I saw the Avengers in 2012. Like I'm a weirdo. Okay.
Marvel Cinematic Universe films release order.
All right.
I'm just pulling it up.
No, it's all good.
The Infinity Saga. Yeah,
Yep.
I guess we're covering the whole.
Yeah. Yep.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Oh, you're looking at Phase 4, yeah. Oh man, Phase 4 got really messed up thanks to COVID.
I'm worried about Black Panther 2. That just
Me too.
That hurts, man.
Yeah. I was rewatching what was I watching? I don't know, it's so sad that Chadwick Boseman passed away. Like
It's really
the world welcomed his character with open arms, and he was like in Civil War he was great. He was good, and
I really warmed up on Black Panther as a film over time.
I haven't, but I definitely appreciate it.
I like a lot about it.
But I guess if you want to go in order, we'll get to good old Black Panther, but
Iron Man.
I mean, everyone agrees this movie's good, right? Like, I don't know, it's so quaint when you think about it, but I don't know, it's one of those that it's definitely up there for me in the top 10, top 5, top 10. But it's really solid.
Did you start with Iron Man?
No, actually, the first one I saw was Iron Man 2 in the theater. I had no idea what was going on. I was like 9. I was a child.
Little baby me.
Yeah,
started with Avengers 1.
That's a good one to start with. No, I definitely knew what they were building up to. Like, I remember being aware that they were going to do an Avengers movie, and I didn't quite know what that meant. And then Captain America was coming out and stuff like that. So it's like I remember that end of Phase 1, but yeah, everything else I've seen in theater day 1. So
I already see where my hot take is coming in.
Oh,
in the first part. But Iron Man's good. The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, there are people that are like fans of it that kind of like say it's underrated, but like it was still done under Universal as like a production company, and so it doesn't mesh very well in my opinion with the rest. And obviously the actor change is a big deal, but
True.
The only thing that has really stayed with that movie is Thunderbolt Ross, and the fact that he's even probably coming back in like Armor Wars or something. So we'll see.
Armor Wars.
Yeah, they're doing Disney Plus. Everything's Disney Plus show now. It's Justin Hammer versus basically War Machine. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be Iron Man 2 too. Can't wait.
Oh no! I mean, Justin Hammer. He was the like entrepreneur guy, right?
Yeah. I actually kind of like him.
Yeah, he was like the best part of that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, Hulk,
because Iron Man 2 is kind of sus.
Yeah, and I've always had a soft spot for it, and I think it's because it was probably my first one. But it's like I don't know, I totally understand the criticisms of it, like, oh, it's the plot threads don't connect, it's a little bloated, and it's trying to tie him into the Avengers, and villain's not that good, blah blah blah. But it's like, I don't know, I really, again, it's that emotional core. I love Tony's like existential crisis, basically, of like, oh, I'm gonna die. My dad, I never had a good relationship with my dad, and that all pays off in Endgame, 55 films later. So it's like, I don't know, I'm definitely partial to it, and I like Rhodey a lot in that movie. Oh, and Black Widow's introduction's great. Like, I think that's one of her better films for sure. I think top 3 films for her have been Iron Man 2, Winter Soldier, and Endgame. You could throw in Civil War, but
hair was like really oily.
That's when her hair was good. They've changed her hair every goddamn movie.
Has it been like them changing the character's hair, or has it just been Scarlett Johansson going with what her hair was?
I think to be honest, I don't know. But I remember when Endgame was coming out and everyone was analyzing the trailers and stuff, it's like Scarlett Johansson's hair was like the only consistency of like how to figure out when things were happening. So it's kind of a meme at this point. Her hair changes every movie.
The hair coefficient.
Yep. I think the only movie it didn't change was... No, it changed every movie. Technically the beginning of Endgame, but it's the same as Infinity War and then the beginning of Endgame. No, I don't even think...
Okay, style doesn't... I mean, actually, are we talking like major sweeping changes? Because I think it's pretty similar in 2 to Avengers 1.
In Avengers 1, it's the like short bob cut kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean it's shorter, but it's like, it's
Captain
it's
America.
still...
Avengers 2. You're right. Actually, you're right. Avengers 2 is very similar.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Avengers 1 and 2 have very similar hairstyles.
I guess I was accidentally correct.
Yeah, Winter Soldier, it got a little longer. Age of Ultron, it got cut. Civil War, it got a little longer and kind of curly. And then Infinity War, because after Civil War, she had to dye it or bleach it. And then I can't remember if she actually had the blonde hair in Endgame or not, because she definitely had it in the Captain Marvel end credits scene. I'm getting really weird about this, but then it kind of starts to grow out, and you start to see the red come back, and so she has the red and blonde in Endgame. But yeah, anyways.
Infinity War has such a... sorry, I'm looking at the posters now.
I know, right? I have the poster up on my wall. It's so good. So good. But
a lot of them are very similar.
We're still in phase 1. We got a little ways to go. It's all good though. But like,
man, are there like 2 templates for these posters?
Yeah, I think the Endgame one has 2. I think.
No, I mean like templates. Like, okay, there's more than 2, but there's a stark amount of them that are like a bunch of characters.
Yeah, definitely. I want to say that started with...
in the newer ones, you have a lot of like kind of like diagonally focused ones.
Yeah, that definitely started with like Age of Ultron, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Thor Ragnarok's poster looks exactly like Infinity War's poster.
Oh yeah,
kind of funny. Far From Home's also, depending on the one you look at, and Endgame's obviously, but come on, there's like 27,000 characters in those 2 movies.
I'd take a poster that has just some cool art.
Yeah, I really like the ones I have on my wall. They're like these minimalist kind of postcard-looking posters, and I really like them.
Yeah, those are dope.
The Black Panther one I really like. It's him in the astral plane, and it's pretty dope. It's especially now, it's like really symbolic. But but yeah, I don't know. Like Phase 1, it's funny looking back at Phase 1 because those movies and those characters are so iconic. But like Phase 1 is definitely the weakest. Well, Phase 2, but Phase 1 is pretty weird.
Phase 2 is weird, as in it has like both
2 of the worst movies. Yeah,
movies, but it also has some that are considered
the best. Yeah, like people still love Winter Soldier and Guardians, but there are some heated debates about Iron Man 3. But
I wonder what side you're on for Iron Man 3.
I love Iron Man 3 so much.
Okay, I mean, we would have gone to it. Thor.
Thor is alright. I don't know. I don't really like it.
Thor.
Yeah, like all the stuff on Earth is so bleh.
Thor's weird. Like it has the weirdest like final fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the other ones are like, oh, here's a villain, and that one's like, it's a suit of armor.
Yeah, but I would say the real fight is him confronting Loki at the end, kind of. Back in Asgard with the Bifrost and stuff. But no, I agree. It is kind of like, oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Although, like, one thing I appreciate about those early movies is kind of how interconnected they were and stuff. Like, that was something they really wanted to get down best they could without, like, shoving characters into the mix. And so, in Iron Man 2, Phil Coulson is in that movie, and he's also in Thor. And so he goes from Iron Man 2 saying like, oh no, I got a trip to, what do you say, like New Mexico, and then he shows up in Thor in New Mexico.
Every desert place in a movie is New Mexico.
Yeah, true.
It's always New Mexico.
I mean, that's why Breaking Bad was filmed where it was, because it was super cheap. And then they're like, oh, it's Albuquerque now. Like that's the setting.
Captain America 1.
People like this movie a lot. Like, I see it really high in rankings quite often.
I think the best way to describe this first phase, the good ones, not the bad ones.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's quaint.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh man, it's kind of cute. This is where we were.
Yeah. I mean, technically the first movie with an Infinity Stone was Thor, but Captain America, the first Avenger is really the first time a stone is like part of the plot.
I mean, we didn't even know that like that was a stone at the point.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I remember people arguing about whether which stone was which early on. If the minds, like if the staff was the space stone because it had blue energy or whatever, and if the Tesseract was really like the mind stone. It was like people could not agree for years, and that's what I loved. I loved the assembling of the Infinity Stones the whole way. Like I remember, we'll get there, but it's like I remember before Ragnarok came out, and I was thinking like, oh, the Soul Stone's definitely going to be in this movie. It's gotta be. And then it wasn't. I'm like, okay, it's definitely going to be in Black Panther. And then it wasn't. I'm like, all right, it's probably not going to be in Infinity War. Right? There's no way Thanos wins. Oh, it's in this movie and he wins. Oh, okay. You know, it's like, I don't know. I loved that journey of just trying to collect them all and find them all and figure out.
Was Guardians 1 the first? Was that the one where they actually like formally were like, this is a stone?
Yes.
Like, because even in like Thor 2, it was like, oh, it's the ether and it's just jelly.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Guardians had the big exposition scene with the collector.
But it's the first one where it was also like, oh, yeah, this is something else, but then it turns into a rock.
Yep,
like,
you were right.
Okay.
You could argue maybe Winter Soldier because the end credit scene is when the twins get their powers, but it's not like they don't say Infinity Stone. I think they say power of the gods or something like that. I don't know.
Like a nuke or something?
What's that?
Like they got they got their powers from a stone? What?
Yeah, so Wanda and Pietro got their powers from the Mind Stone because it went into Hydra's possession after
like something blew up, right? And then it like
I
remember was the bit too where it was
WandaVision
like,
kind of retconned some of this, so I'm not quite sure what to tell you.
That's okay. What's the new thing? Just go with that.
Wanda had her powers all along, and the stone just enhanced it. That's what the show.
I mean, okay, I'm good with that.
And so the Mind Stone kind of just enhanced her powers, and so after, like, when the Stark bomb first landed in their apartment, that's kind of when her powers first start to appear.
That's why I was like, wasn't there like a nuke or something?
Yeah, it was the Stark missile because Sokovia was in a civil war and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, but Avengers 1, damn it.
Oh, baby.
That's still one of the best.
I would say Avengers 1 is like the first one where it's like
really, really good.
It's like the uptick, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Avengers 1 is so good. I love the script in that movie so much. It's so good.
Yeah.
It still has one of the better final, like, third acts, too.
I think I have, like, 3 uptick movies that I would say. Or, like, upticks in, like, oh, this is the new standard.
Yeah, well, baby, here we go.
Yeah. Iron Man 3.
Is a banger.
I think, yeah, we're both on the positive
side. Thank God. It's such a banger.
We'll wait to see where I don't.
I adore it so much. Like, it's so unique. I totally understand some of the criticisms. Like, the consequences at the end of the movie don't really ever come up ever again. So, like, you know, I'm going to give up all my suits. And that was mainly because at the time, Marvel didn't really think they were going to get Downey Jr. to come back for more films. And so that was kind of left there so that if he did come back, he could. But if he couldn't, then that was it. So it's weird to think that. But it did end up, you know, creating kind of a clunky entry. And I still wish Pepper kept the Extremis. I still wish that.
Yeah, there was like that weird, like, fire power, right?
Yeah. That was like the main villain's plot. Like, I'm gonna give everyone these powers and then they'll live forever and, you know, never have pain and blah, blah, blah. That was his whole thing.
He sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, I know. You know but he was apparently evil? I don't know. He was a terrorist, mainly. He did. He in order to make his plan work, he was like, terrorism. Yes.
Oh yeah, because it was like a thing where like only like the one survivor of the event would get it.
Yeah, it was like some genetic thing. Yes.
Yeah, he had to like blow up planes and trains, and then the one person would live.
Yep.
Yeah, he is kind of an evil dude.
Yeah, I recommend giving it a rewatch. I really do like Iron Man 3.
At some point, I mean, my family does have Disney Plus, so I do have access.
There you go. I mean, hey, I have them all on Blu-ray, so feel free to call me up.
I mean, also same, but Thor: The Dark World.
The worst one. The worst one. The worst one.
Man, we gotta start disagreeing here.
I think as we go further, I think so, but
too agreeable for our podcast.
Yep.
We're usually more against.
To be fair, I barely remember this movie. I've seen it maybe 5 times, and I barely remember it.
It commits the greatest sin
of just
a piece of entertainment can do.
Yep, it's just not memorable.
It's just boring.
The best stuff is Thor and Loki, and that's it. And there's an Infinity Stone, and Natalie Portman's in it. And
your favorite.
And I don't know. Endgame made the movie more fun, I guess. Like, oh yeah, remember the Dark World? Haha, you know, it's like, all right.
All right, you get that one joke.
Yeah, and Natalie Portman. So.
And never talk about it again. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Although I will say, I'm glad that Frigga came back, and like was a thing. But anyways,
Frigga.
Thor's mom. His little talk with his mom, because she dies in the Dark World.
Oh.
Yeah. Plot.
I did not care.
I need to rewatch, and it has the worst villain too. Like Malekith sucks. He's just his plan.
Thor was actually
yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. You're right. You're so right. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I think that illustrates somewhat of kind of an issue that this
saga
series has, where a lot of the time the best characters are pretty similar, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
no, you're right.
Quippy people who are cool.
Doctor Strange is very
positive.
similar to, you know, Tony.
You know, it's the Iron Man, Spider-Man, Star-Lord.
Yeah.
You know, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange. And Thor was like the I am serious
man.
guy until they made him.
Man.
To be fair, he's different a bit. You know, he's still quippy, but he's like, I don't understand quippy instead of I am smart quippy.
Yeah, he also kind of had a like sort of a hubris, I want to say, after Avengers 2, like into Ragnarok, but he's not like perfect.
A lovable like oaf, you know?
Yeah.
He's like the gentle giant kind of deal, which is different, you know. And then Star-Lord is like, haha, I am the 80s.
Yeah.
But okay. So Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
That one's a lot of people's favorites, like top 2.
It's not mine.
It's not mine either. I definitely like really think it's solid, but I don't love it. I definitely like it a lot though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I love, like, it's probably my favorite movie with Black Widow in it. Like, I really do enjoy her in that movie. And I will say, like, it does get a little goofy with the German computer bot, but
I am a computer.
Yeah. Plus, the third act is a little I feel like for what the movie was building up to, it was very like, oh, okay. Like, I can kind of see where you mean, where it's like, oh, why did it have to be, you know, such a big explosion fight? But
it's the type of thing where it's like a fight for me is always more interesting when it's like it's less a match of strength and more a match of like wits.
You'll like the WandaVision finale, let me tell you.
I don't mean wits like that way, like straight up like I am more intelligent, but like it's creative. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, we both have these weird abilities, but I figured out a really interesting way to use mine.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get you. Like the Ruby or Spider-Verse effect.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I liked Spider-Verse so much. And honestly, part of why Spider-Man's like my favorite. Just because, I don't know, man, there's such like a dynamic kinetic energy.
Yeah, with the webs and
fights,
yeah.
You know, and just swinging around where it's always like, oh man, is he gonna do some crazy thing off this pole? Hell yeah!
Yeah. Is he gonna do the spinny kick of death? But I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of creativity there. Whereas with Captain America, he just throws a shield and punches people.
Yeah. With him, it's always a test of...
He does karate.
Okay. I would say, personally, that I think Guardians of the Galaxy is the blueprint for the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I think it's the second uptick.
For sure.
Like, Avengers was like, okay, we really perfected this like fun, you know, kind of like witty action movie. Guardians was like where they were like, okay, what if we just went really in the fun direction?
What if we made Star Wars again, basically?
What if we just like went really silly with it.
Yeah.
For our weird stuff that isn't like very realistic, and then every weird thing from that point on is trying to recapture that.
Yo, you're definitely right. Like some of the best scenes in Infinity War are just it's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 basically. Like you're so right. Like I definitely agree because after Guardians it was kind of like oh, you know, big team up movie where it's not the Avengers. Oh, it's going to be like Guardians and like people are already saying that about the Eternals movie. They're like, "Oh, it's going to be like the Guardians, but they're superpowers or whatever." I don't know. It's like people are like already doing that and they've done that for years. So it's interesting. Like people say Thor Ragnarok is like a Guardians kind of deal too. So it's definitely interesting and I definitely agree with your point.
Yeah, Guardians was the first one where they really tried to go for instead of like action movie, they tried to really like they turned the comedy up from like a 7 to like a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was definitely a
And
comedy.
it worked and everyone and now a lot of the preceding stuff is really trying to capture that again.
Yeah, I agree. Especially I mean that third act is like that third act especially like beyond the ships flying around blowing things up and the big shield like the dance off. I mean, come on. That's so creative. That is so no movie does that. No movie does that.
Yeah, dude. It's the best. Like from now on you can like divide it between the Guardians influenced and the Winter Soldier influenced.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah.
It's like if technically Winter Soldier kind of has that with the like I'm not that's not who I am blah 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 with Bucky and Cap fighting on the very tippity top of the thing, but it's like that's not a dance off to save the universe. Come on.
Yeah.
I will say I missed the boat on Guardians 1. I've told this story 1,000 million times on my channel, but
You didn't like it.
I was kind of a hater of that movie because it was like the big popular thing, and I didn't see it when it was cool, and everyone's listened to the music, and I was like, well, it was fine. Like,
Because
whatever.
the music is bad.
I didn't see it until like DVD way after it came out. Like I think I saw Age of Ultron and Ant-Man before. I think even Civil War. I think I saw, and so it's like I don't know.
To like push. People had to push you. Into
I was late to it, but trust me when I tell you, I wish I could slap myself because it's definitely one of the better ones. It's not my favorite. I kind of prefer the second one, but no, I definitely really can acknowledge what that movie did and what it is and how solid it is. Like I know for some people, it's the only Marvel movie they like and it's the only one they watch. And like that makes sense. Like I can totally get that. It's like I said, they remade Star Wars. It is this generation's Star Wars. It really is.
I think Guardians 1 is probably my favorite out of the two, but I do agree with you where I think Guardians 2 is in a lot of ways better.
Guardians 2 fixed my main issue with the first movie was like the characters, they're good, but they're very much a caricature. They're not like
I mean, it's a comedy.
out.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's very much like a comedy.
No, yeah.
I think 2 probably is this what I'll say it. I think 2 does the best at exploring a theme out of any of the MCU movies.
Ooh, no, yeah, I can kind of see what you mean.
Because 2 very much like every character in some different way links back to like the core theme of family and stuff.
Yeah, no,
in
yeah.
entirely different ways, and it explores all of them, and it does that. And no other Marvel movie I can think of really does it that way. Like, of course, they have themes and stuff.
No, yeah, like,
but none of the other ones feel like examining.
That was the point of the movie.
Of the group,
yeah,
based off of this idea.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, when you watch that movie, we'll get to it, but it's like it feels different than everything else. Like, it definitely feels like it's trying to be a little extra. You know, everyone complains how the Marvel movies are so boring and plain, but it's like that one, especially out of all of them, it's like there's heart to that movie, and it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, really.
Dude, it's so... Remember when James Gunn was canceled?
Yeah, oh gosh, I remember those days. Those were fun. That was a fun summer. That was a terrifying summer, because that was right after Infinity War, so everyone was like, what? What?
Dude, I was so like, oh man, that sucks. We got 2 good movies.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Now on to... I would say this is probably the biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
I would say
Age of
Ultron.
I think Age of Ultron was the first one that I saw. Like, even Thor 2, I was like, oh, I like that. But Age of Ultron, man, I had really, really high hopes. They were introducing my favorite character ever with Scarlet Witch. they were doing Ultron, one of the best villains in the comics, and it was I don't know. Like it's gotten better for me over the years, especially with Infinity War and Endgame to kind of complement it. But it's hard to sit through. It really is for me.
Age of Ultron is quite, when people criticize the MCU,
it's the one I think of.
What they're saying, that is, their criticisms is Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I agree. The only like super interesting stuff for me in that movie is the farm, like when they go to the farm. Like I like that stuff a lot. I like how Wanda kind of makes them all I don't want to say split from each other, but it kind of starts the divide for Civil War, but it also kind of examines the characters. Like Cap is nothing without a war. Tony is he feels like he can't move on and save the world, and Banner is afraid of himself. It's like I like those introspective kind of moments, but there's really not a lot to the movie. The script is really bland, and I feel like the first 20 minutes is just so rushed. Like the second Ultron, like I felt like the build up to Ultron was way too quick personally. I don't know. Like I remember being in the theater and being like, "Wait, we're Ultron? It's what? Ultron already? We just started." Like it was definitely weird.
Already.
And it's weird to think that Jarvis died in this movie. It's so weird to think that. But there are things I like about it. I love when they're all hanging out at the party and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not like no one bought a ticket to this movie to watch Black Widow and Hulk have a romance. Like no one paid to see that. Like no one.
And even then, that was still probably one of the weakest developed things in the series as a whole.
Agreed, because they play it off as a joke in Infinity War. It's like, oh hi.
Hey, I've been in space for years.
It was let's see, 2015 to 20.
Can we talk about
how
3 years. Hulk flew a plane into space that far?
Yeah. No, there was theories for so long that like the Watchers or like the Timekeepers were the ones that guided him, and I'm like, that makes no sense, because the argument is like he was the one to bring back everyone with the snap, and so he had to somehow come into contact with Thor, and everything had to be perfect or whatever. So it's like there's all these bullshit theories, but it's like no, he just no.
He just left, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, we need to let's put him in here. That'd be a fun dynamic."
Yeah.
Now that we've given Thor a character to play with.
Yeah.
And given Bruce a character to play with.
No,
he was barely a character.
Definitely, I agree. One last thing I'll say about Age of Ultron was it was definitely the first one where I felt like the movies needed to have more consequence. And it's something they did much better with going down the line. Obviously, I mean, come on, Infinity War, but it's like. But like it's like they're trying to save this city, and to me, I just remember watching the movie and I'm like there could be more death here, like, and I get that kind of was a thing in Civil War apparently, that they didn't save everyone even though SHIELD showed up and saved everyone, but apparently not everyone. So it felt weird like how safe they tried to be with it, and a lot of the humor doesn't work for me compared to the first movie. Like a lot of the jokes, I don't know, like there's one in particular at the beginning. It's not even really a joke, it's just Tony being goofy, but he's like, when he goes to the bookshelf in the Hydra place and he's like, please be secret door, please be secret door, and like that just stands out so weirdly to me. And like I don't know, the tone is what there's a lot of problems with that movie for me, but definitely I've been able to appreciate a little more over the years.
Yeah, it's
on the bottom half though for me. For sure. It has a really dope
Ant-Man.
score though. No, Daniel, sorry, go ahead. Ant-Man, I loved a ton when it was new, and it's definitely probably on the bottom half for me now.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I've always been really disappointed that it wasn't an Edgar Wright movie, and I get that probably never would have happened anyways, and so that's part of it for me. I don't know. I tend not to try to be the person that's like, oh, it's different from the comics. But it's like, I would have loved to have seen Hank Pym create Ultron. Like, I would have loved to see that in the movies, but obviously that didn't happen. So it's like I'm a little disappointed with that, but it's pretty solid. It's definitely one of the more cookie cutter Marvel movies. It has your little
that's
tie-in.
the hottest take I have now that I think about it about films in general. It's just the scores of film.
Yeah, this is definitely
Music.
one that has. I think it has one of the worst like main themes.
Not even just that. I'm just saying in general, like film scores don't really do that much for me.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I get. I don't agree, but I can see what you mean.
No, yeah, I know it's a dumb opinion. Like,
It's definitely a different, like, what I listen to is film scores generally. Like, I'm weird, okay? But
like,
I get what you mean.
It's not a bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm just saying for me personally, it doesn't like influence me that much.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that if films had more like gamey scores or more like scores that were more in your face, it wouldn't work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it would work for me.
Yeah, no, I feel what you mean. I don't know. That's a criticism put against these movies a lot, is that the music isn't memorable. And obviously, I'm a weird anomaly. I'm the outlier in this because I did a video like a year and a half ago where I listened to a video that was like, it was playing the songs before telling you what it was from, and I got like pretty much all of them, bar like Thor and Hulk. So yeah, I don't think it's really good criticism when I'm able to remember them, and I don't remember a lot of things. But I don't know. I get what you mean, though.
I'm not even just saying for Marvel in general. I'm just talking
movies.
overall film.
Yeah,
I'm weird like that. My brain very much attaches like emotion to melody, I guess.
right. No, I get you. I get what you mean.
Where films are like very subtle, you know,
Interesting.
and they're like
yeah,
in the background. But I'm not, dude. Give me that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can listen to
more electric guitars in movie soundtracks.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
I mean, I can listen to John Williams all day, and like I can pinpoint when certain tracks are in the movie and stuff like that. So I'm definitely weird when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, no.
But
this is not a criticism at all.
Yeah,
like
no,
this
I
is
get
me
you.
having weird personal preference because I know I'm the weird one here.
Okay, well, I feel like I'm the weird one because I listen to freaking movie soundtracks at work. So I don't know. I will say
Spider-Verse.
No, you're right.
That one was also more
Ant-Man.
You know,
Ant-Man started a weird trend for me that I wish they were a little more concrete in how they wanted to do phases, right? So like Ant-Man is the end of phase 2, and that's just so weird to me. Like, I don't get why that is. It'd be like if Iron Man 3 was the end of phase 1, right? Like, it's like that's how it feels, and they did it with Far From Home. Like, Far From Home doesn't. That's weird to me. Endgame is the end. Age of Ultron is the end of that phase. It's like each Avengers movie was the end of the phase, and so it's, I don't know. It was weird to me.
Ideally, the best end of 2 would be Civil War.
I can see what you mean. Yeah, no,
because that's like the arc set up by Ultron.
Yeah,
and then Ant-Man is setting up for Civil War.
I've actually never thought about that before.
So I can see that.
I've never thought about that before. That's actually really interesting.
Especially, you know, Doctor Strange is very much about like, oh look, he has a time stone, and then you're back into space.
Yeah, back into space with Infinity Stones and
a lot of space and a lot of setting up.
I actually quite like that. I've never thought about that before. I always thought that it should have ended with. No, I like that a lot. I really do like that. You brought something new to my brain I never thought of before.
You're welcome. Civil War.
Civil War. Yeah, so Civil War was my favorite for a long time, which is weird because I've kind of realized recently that Civil War, like a lot of MCU hardcore fans don't really like it. Like there are people that actually kind of hate it, and I'm like, wow. Because for me, it was such a good, like I don't know, like it's probably my favorite comic storyline, so that's part of it, and I feel like they did a decent job doing it in the MCU. And so it has that going for it, but it's like, I don't know, everything about it I just really like. It's definitely lower down for me now. It's not, I don't think it's top 5 anymore. But for a long time it was my favorite till about Infinity War, I would say. It has that emotional core to it that I really like. I love how involved Tony was in the story, even though it's a Captain America movie. It was basically Avengers 2.5, you know.
That was probably the best thing that Age of Ultron brought to the MCU is like Iron Man's like guilt, and like PTSD,
that in
a lot of ways like defines his character for the rest of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I
Until
totally
he
agree.
died.
Yeah, I mean, he can
Until
rest.
he did.
Yeah.
GG.
I will say Civil War is definitely one probably the first movie I would say that maybe Winter Soldier, but it was the first one where consequences felt like they actually existed finally, where everyone was split up, the Accords existed, Tony was pissed at Cap, and so they couldn't do things, and I don't know, it's like that was the first movie where I really felt like things actually affected the world around them, and I really liked that about it. Obviously, the airport scene is just awesome. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. I always like how Cap is read as the one to go against, like, the government,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That really, this is going more into character stuff.
Yeah.
But it really, like, shows that, like, the depth of his morals, He isn't there because, like, oh, I am allegiant to this thing. He's like, no, I'm there because this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I've heard that before where people were like, oh, they should be different. Iron Man should be the egotistical, wants to work on his own, and Cap should be the, I want to follow the government. But it's like, no, like, their character arcs are different. Like, after Winter Soldier, no way does Cap want to beholden himself to a government. After Iron Man 3, no way does Tony want to rely on only himself, So it's like, I feel like people kind of missed the point with that one. I don't know. That's one of the bigger criticisms I hear for the movie is like, oh, the sides don't make sense.
I always love that read
of
his character.
No, I agree.
That's such a good read.
Yeah, and
it brings a lot of depth,
Yeah, and
on the surface, he's by far the most shallow character of the set.
Tony or Cap?
No. Cap.
Yeah, yeah.
On the surface, because his motivation originally was just, yes, America.
I want to do the right thing. Yeah.
Punch the bad guy.
Well, I don't like a bully. That was his main thing. But yeah.
I mean, I'm just talking like even just the comic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he was propaganda. He was literally propaganda.
Yeah.
You're right.
So then make him like very much.
Yeah.
The way that it's twisted into much more of like the moral center is like, oh, that's very cool.
I mean, definitely look at the way he started in Captain America 1, being punched in the alley, to the end of Civil War where he's kind of going his own way and rescuing everyone from the raft and stuff. It's like I like that a lot. I will say it name drops my favorite movie of all time, The Empire Strikes Back. So I have to like it for that. It has the introduction of MCU Spider-Man. It has Black Panther is freaking introduced in this movie.
Oh my God,
I think he's one of the better characters in the movie. I think. His little, he realizes that the vengeance that Last was part 2. I'm going to bring it back up. It's a circle of violence. Where he realizes in the end it's not worth it. Not worth it. So, and it has Zemo, and he's coming back in a Falcon. So it's like I feel like this was definitely the first film where it really felt like the branches. It just branched into so many things. It's a prequel to Homecoming and Black Panther and technically Infinity War. So it's like and Ant-Man and the Wasp because he's under house arrest. So it's like everything about it just really played into the future of the movies, and I really like that for it.
It's the point where it became less like parallel strands and more like, okay, wait,
main plot.
No, these are things.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Doctor Strange.
What
takes me back the most about Doctor Strange is that was when Shooting Stars was like the meme.
Yeah, I know, right?
that's what's taking me back the most about. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, it's kind of a cookie cutter one to me. I would say I like it better than Ant-Man, definitely. But it's not. It's in the upper half, but it's probably in the middle for me.
I would say I'm happy that we're finally out of the era of like everything coming out being an origin story.
Yeah, I agree.
Then you look at the upcoming and half of them are origin stories.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have to restart, so I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Oh God, yeah.
This is morbid, but Black Panther 2.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's
oh, that scares me, man. I'm so glad I'm not a producer on that movie.
I know, right? It's just sad.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Obviously, this was the second to last Infinity Stone movie, so it was like, oh, finally the time stone. Like, I didn't realize the time stone was going to be in this movie. The way I thought it was going to go was the time stone was going to be in Guardians 2 and the soul stone was going to be in Thor. So it's like no, they
Guardians 2 was the unimportant one. That's
Guardians,
what that was.
Guardians 2 doesn't have one, really.
Guardians 2 pretty much has no weight in terms of like the main.
It's very similar to Iron Man 3, kind of.
It's a character study.
Yep.
It's focused on it, and that's why.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we can talk about it, but yeah, the Guardians 2 is like really good.
That's kind of how you can tell which ones we think are the better ones, because like we always go back to mention them.
Yeah.
We're talking about other movies, and then we're just like, oh yeah, the
Guardians
next one
2.
doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a.
Yeah, Guardians 2 is really good. It made me cry because a CGI raccoon was feeling emotions. So that's an A+ in my book. Like, that's just amazing. I love the scene when Gamora's just sitting in the grass field, like just vibing, you know. And it's like there's so many. Not only is it a really well shot movie, but it's like the cinematography fits so well with the characters, you know. Like there's so many angles and just camera movements they do that really fit. And it does what we were saying before about the third act being really interesting. Is it's not, you know, a good portion of the third act focuses on Rocket and Groot, and they're just hiding in a cave waiting for the go-to to blow things up. Like, that's cool. And, you know, the fight is happening outside around them, and then you have the emotional beats with Yondu and stuff a little later on. But it's like it wasn't a big explosion fest in the way it could have been, and I really like that. I want to say Guardians 2 is definitely top 10 for me. Maybe top.
That would be
top
too
7.
hot to take. But I was just thinking, like, man, Yondu might have one of the best done like deaths in the series.
Oh yes, for sure.
Iron Man has.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm creeping towards, man, does Yondu have the best?
I definitely have thoughts about Iron Man's death we can get to, but I do agree. Like, his send out was really solid.
Like, I feel like Iron Man's was good in the way that it was like how brutal it was in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like the after part.
Oh no, I agree.
It felt a little too like standard, I guess.
Fair. That's fair.
I don't know.
And Yondu's funeral is amazing. He's telling the story about David Hasselhoff. Though it's so good.
Oh my god.
And it made Nebula like really interesting to me. Like, I don't know, I really like, to me,
every character, dude.
I know. Like, it really made me care about everyone.
And he was like, oh man. He has this like the part where like Drax is just sitting there.
Yeah.
Then Mantis like puts
I know.
her hand
It's so good. I want to watch it right now. It's
sobbing.
So
it's like,
good.
oh, dude, that's the best. That's like the best piece of like character development.
Yeah, and then no words. Like, he doesn't have to say anything. It's so good. I will say, like, you have the stuff with Sylvester Stallone that's a little weird. It's like, why is this here? I don't quite get it. That's kind of there for Yondu's character, I think. It's for him to kind of play off of and to think about, but that's clearly some weird sequel stuff there. It doesn't flow very well, but I don't know. It's there.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, the first 10-15 minutes of the movie aren't that amazing, and then it's like definitely once they go to the planet, Ego's planet, it's like I feel like it gets way better, but I don't know. That's Guardians 2. It's one of the better ones for sure. And then
Spider-Man Homecoming. Okay, once we go through them all, we'll just list our 5.
Yeah.
And then I guess that'll be it, but Homecoming. It's the second best Spider-Man movie.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm confident in that. 100%.
Interesting. I think it still has one of the best twists in the whole series.
I was never gotten by.
Really? Oh.
No, I mean, like, this is the positive thing. I've never got by a plot twist in a Marvel film.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no, I didn't see it coming at all. Like,
I was the only one where I was genuinely like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, I really...
It wasn't like anything either. It was just a moment of like, oh crap.
Yeah, it's so good. That's one of the better things in the movie for me is the Vulture and like how he ties into just the events of the previous movies, and I just really like that. His freaking suit is made out of Chitauri tech. Like that's so cool, man. That's so cool. And it's like basically Tony becomes Peter's father in this movie. It's so good. And then obviously you have the rubble scene.
Best on death. I remember. Spider-Man, dude.
Oh, I guess, but that wasn't a death.
Who cares, Scott? That killed me emotionally,
dude.
For like 4 hours.
The person I saw in Infinity War in the theater with for the first time, like they were crying for like
I was
the rest
genuinely
of the movie.
haunted by that moment.
It was
like,
sad. It was so sad.
It wasn't just sad. It was like, this is disturbing.
I mean, it was everything that Tony was trying to prevent, and then it happened right before his eyes.
Just how he acted in his final moments was like, this is genuinely haunting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm uncomfortable watching this.
No, yeah. I mean, it became a meme for a reason. It really did. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Like, it's so good. I will say, like, I do kind of forget stuff about this movie, but the fact that it was basically shot and filmed like a I don't want to say TV show, but like kind of teen sitcom like a kind of deal. I don't know.
Yeah, that
really helped it, and I love I mean, it's obviously he has to balance Spider-Man with his real self, and so it's like I love when he's going on the DC trip and he has to like. They're gonna go to the pool, and then he's like, "Well, crap, I have to go be Spider." I don't know. It's like I love that stuff in Spider-Man movies so much.
He does by far the best, actually balancing Spider-Man and Peter
out
of any Spider-Man film.
It is something I wish Spider-Verse could have maybe done a little bit. It didn't need to. I'll say that, but that's an element of that movie I felt like was missing. But that's unrelated.
As much.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do agree, especially when you have Peter Bum Parker. So.
Yeah, baby. Best boy. Homecoming is really good. Thor Ragnarok.
That's one of my favorites for sure.
The biggest glow up I've ever seen.
It is
for both Thor and Hulk
and Loki.
Like, good. Yeah,
I mean everyone liked Loki before, but somehow he's even better.
Loki was good.
Yeah,
like
no, yeah,
solid. But Thor and Hulk were outside of. Okay, they were the mid.
Yeah.
Of like. Had the 6 Avengers, right?
Yep.
And the top 2 were Cap and Iron Man, and they were good from the start. And the bottom 2 were Black Widow and Hawkeye, and frankly, they haven't really been good at all so far.
Yeah.
They're still kind of struggling in a lot of ways. But the middle 2 were Hulk and Thor. And they were just like, yeah, they're there too.
Yeah.
They're like, I guess. But this was the one where it's like, oh man, now I like these characters.
I know, yeah. I remember when Ragnarok was being like was in development, and basically the IMDb like blurb for the plot was Thor and Bruce Banner are globetrot around the universe, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. Like that sounds so good. And that's not really what it was, but still, like that's that whole idea of just these two together, just chilling. I don't know. I will say though. Do you think the movie would have been even more better received if no one knew Hulk was in the movie?
That's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Hard to say. Because no matter what would have happened, it would have gotten out.
Yeah. No, yeah. I agree. It's interesting to think, like, what if they didn't market it that way at all? Because technically, I don't think Hulk shows up until about halfway. Like, just over halfway, I think. So I feel like they could have done it, but they got to sell those tickets, I guess.
I mean, if he doesn't show up to like halfway, then I'm trying to remember how much happens in the first half.
There's quite a bit.
It's probably more like a third.
Yeah, maybe. I'll have to pull it up, but yeah, like the death of Odin is like a 15-minute thing. Not really.
Oh yeah.
But
I feel like the first like major event that happens outside of like the intro is like the gladiatorial, like, oh
yeah,
wait, you're here?
Yeah, he's a friend from work. But yeah, no, I don't know. Ragnarok did a really good balance of the emotion and the humor and just the energy for me. Like The scene when he's like, you know, gaining his true form or whatever with the powers, and it's so good. Like, it's so good. And then obviously the music choice, real good.
The fact that like a major plot point in a Thor movie was like the devil's anus or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, there's been a shift.
Oh, and Valkyrie's in this movie. Oh my god, I love her too. I
like
can't wait to see more of her.
Yeah, is she like a character that's actually coming back?
Yeah.
Or is she one of the other side characters?
I mean, hopefully. I mean, we've seen set photos of her on set for Thor 4 in Australia, so she's definitely in the movie. I don't know how much of a role she'll play, but we'll see. I mean, she's Queen of Asgard now, so probably won't be that important. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It is sad to think that this movie kind of it's the Alien 3 effect where, or excuse me, Alien 3 where you know, the whole point of the second movie was we gotta destroy the thing and escape and save the day, and we did it. Oh wait, now we're all dead in the next movie. So it happens. Oh well. All right, that kind of diminishes it, but it's still like not too bad.
It escalates how like much of a force Thanos is.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I agree.
Black Panther is a good film.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it still. I've seen it enough times that I feel like I should have a good opinion on it. But I don't really like T'Challa in this movie compared to Civil War. I felt like in Civil War, or in this movie too, I don't know. I feel like he's just kind of going through the same motions that he went through in Civil War, whereas like, oh, I'm not ready to lead. I must, you know, avenge the death of my blah blah blah. It's like, I don't know. It didn't vibe with me. Whereas Killmonger, I'm much more vibed with. So
Killmonger's like top.
Yeah,
one of the best.
Easily one of the better.
Villains. Easily.
All right, I just checked. Hulk enters the film at 53 minutes and 49 seconds. So that's just under halfway. Just under.
God. What the hell?
I know, right? Yeah, like I don't know. I found the plot to not be great. I don't know the structure. I have this issue with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Black Panther, and Far From Home, where I felt like the structure just wasn't there for me personally. There's a lot of like wasted air with Black Panther, and everyone's said it, but like the effects are just not that great in Black Panther, unfortunately. Not the CG compared to like Thor Ragnarok and Ant-Man and Captain Marvel is just not. It's not all there.
That is very true.
I feel like they kind of made that movie on a lower budget on purpose because I do not think they were expecting it to blow up the way it did. There's no way, and so I feel like they kind of gave it a smaller budget on purpose. But
yeah,
which is a shame. But hey, and I don't know. None of the characters besides like. I don't know. I think that's it for me is the characters. I don't really care for Okoye or what is Maz Kanata's name in that movie?
I don't know.
His girlfriend. The fact I don't remember her name, that's saying a lot. I do feel like Claw was kind of wasted because the fact that he was like a fun cameo in Age of Ultron was really cool. But I was like, oh, I can't wait to see more of. Oh, he's dead. I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know. There was things about it that I was like, oh, okay. So the direction they went with it wasn't really for me. I definitely appreciate like the world building and the costume design. Like everyone mostly agrees on all that.
Yeah.
Killmonger's cool, and the ending of the movie's weird. I'll give it that. Like, oh, we're gonna open our doors and all that, but we're also not going to. It was weird. I don't know.
I'd say it's like probably like I think it's the ideal baseline.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like where if you're making a new Marvel film, that's kind of like you should be at least here.
Yeah. I saw like
I know they can't all be bangers.
You know,
it
I
should
agree.
be like a solid origin film.
I will say in Phase 3, it's probably one of the lower ones for me. I don't know. It's weird. There's 2 Spider-Man and 2 Avengers movies in Phase 3. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. Like I definitely should give it a go again. But it feels very much like a side story to me, if that makes sense. Like like I don't know, I'm weird, but like the most exciting thing in the whole movie for me, and like the most interesting thing, was Bucky being there, and he wasn't in the movie until the end credits, and I was like, oh, that's disappointing. I was kind of thinking he'd be in the movie more, but oh well. Hey, I can't get everything I want, so yeah, I don't know. It could have done with better characters, and that's why I'm really fearful for the second movie, because I do not care for Shuri much at all. So we'll have to see.
Is she still on the project?
Yeah, I think.
I thought she was taken.
I don't know anymore. The movie begins production really soon, so
she was taken off after she went all anti-vax, right?
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I don't know. We'll see.
That's how it would be.
She's also like still young, so I don't know.
Look, I'd kill for a movie based off the other lady, the one with the spear.
Okoye, yeah. Yeah,
dude, that'd be so tight.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I like her, but I couldn't tell you much about her as a character. So
that's what a movie's for.
True.
That's what making her main characters.
But have you seen a movie called Star Wars where like there's like 7 characters and they all have little? Anyway, sorry.
Oh, shut up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd also fit in more, like
yeah,
because in the next film.
I actually kind of like her in Endgame when she's like trying to help out with stuff like the earthquake underwater. It's like, how do you handle that? You handle it by not handling it.
But in Infinity War at the end, where Black Panther is like, not die here.
Yep, this is no place to die. Like, oh, her face is so good.
It's like, come on, man, take that line and just. I know it was only meant for that moment, but just extrapolate it.
Make that her catalyst in Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Make that her life goal. Like it's kind of like the wormhole for Tony. For her, it's seeing her king die before her. You know. I like it. I can vibe with it. It's the worst one. It sucks. It's terrible.
Best one.
Too many characters. The story doesn't make sense. The villain sucks, and the effects are bad. Easily the worst one. Anyways, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
We were talking about
Black Panther.
War, not Endgame.
Sorry. Okay, but yeah, no. Obviously, Infinity War #2 probably for me. Bang. I love it.
Bang.
It the fact that it even works at all, like at any level, like it's so good. The structure, the pacing, everything about it. Like I put this movie on, and I'm like, I'll turn it off after like 30 minutes or something. But then it's like scene after scene after scene, and just it's like. It's the perfect amount.
Do you like turn movies on and then not watch the whole thing?
I'm really bad at it. Like I can't. Like I think the movie I did it with recently was Final Fantasy Advent Children, where I just turned it on for like 5 seconds and then turned it off.
Crazy.
But no, normally I can't. But with the Marvel movies, I've seen them enough that I can. So.
I mean, I just don't watch movies. I'll be real.
Yeah, fair.
I know.
Fair.
I need to watch more. I just don't.
But yeah, Infinity War is like just so well structured. Like I talked about how much I love the script of the original Avengers, but I think Infinity War has the best scripts in the series, personally.
Totally.
It balances everything so well. It like Thanos is the main character, and like I cannot tell you just how much I adore him. Like they made him so interesting, so like just intriguing. I don't want to say complex, but I don't know, like they made this guy that a lot of people were just like, why should I care about him, into just the best Marvel villain.
Honestly, that's probably one of the main reasons I was disappointed in Endgame.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely one of the weaker things, I'll admit. But it's like his story was over, you know?
Being the past, but the argument where it's like, oh, it's past Thanos, so he isn't as developed. It's like, okay, that's just...
I mean, it is true.
It's not an excuse for worse writing, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you have to remember, though...
Perspective, I get that, but it's like, man...
I think...
Okay, that's a different...
I think Infinity War, like, obviously, like... Okay, you'll notice after Thanos sacrifices Gamora, he doesn't directly murder anyone for the rest of the movie. Like, he just pushes people out of his way, and the only person he does is Vision. And so I feel like...
Because he has...
And so I feel like he kind of, that was a character changing moment for him, and that's something that Thanos or Endgame Thanos didn't have. Like after his pilgrimage.
No. I'm not saying the way say that like he doesn't kill anything. It's just like I don't know. I guess
I totally agree though. Like I do get what you're saying.
it's weird. I guess in the way where it's like, oh yeah, he's totally the main character in that movie. It's weird that he's so character-y and doesn't get much of any development or like interesting things to do in it.
Yeah, it is weird. I'll give you that. I can excuse it to the end of the earth because I do, but it's like I don't know. There are things that he does in Endgame that I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like he's way harder on Nebula.
True.
And like
True, he does do stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree. Like I agree, but I also don't. It's weird. He does feel very weird.
Maybe I just think that Nebula should have like okay, I'm
done
totally
more.
in that theory of like the movie starts with Iron Man and Nebula playing like
yeah.
and then it's the scenario where you have to take a MacGuffin from one side of the field to the other.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
We set you up on the tee. You just had to swing the bat.
That's kind of the goal. They have that first. They're like, oh, we got to get it in the quantum tunnel, the gauntlet, and then it blows up or whatever. I don't remember. Yeah. And then then it changes.
They nailed it with Iron Man. They nailed it with Iron Man. But it's just like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
You're like 66% of the way there.
Yeah.
2/3 of it is perfect, but just that final third is like, oh man, come on.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
That's how I feel about Endgame as a whole, where it's like, dude, I love you have the setup so perfect, but just that.
See, I feel like you're kind of forgetting that it's a part 2. Like Endgame is part 2 of a whole.
Yeah, but that honestly makes it worse.
Really? I feel like the movies complement each other so well, personally.
Okay. Endgame feels like they've ran this race for so long. And they've been running it great. But then right at the end, they stumble a bit.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like the gymnast who can't stick the landing.
Even though they kept going and it wasn't like a fail, it wasn't like that. It's just the last note it goes out on is something where it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Like,
is Endgame better or worse than Return of the Jedi?
I don't know. I haven't watched.
Dang it. Okay. I feel like that was gonna be the gotcha moment, but hey, it's fair.
I liked Return of the Jedi more than Endgame.
Over the years, I feel like my same like opinions and thoughts on Return of the Jedi is how you feel about Endgame.
Here's where you would have an argument, because you can't really compare the two directly. If you were like, how do you feel about Return of the Jedi in the context of the trilogy? There you have an argument. There you have.
That's kind of what I mean, though. That is kind of what I mean.
Directly comparing Endgame to Return of the Jedi is like apples and oranges.
I know, you know? I know, but
Return of the Jedi is easily the weakest out of the three.
Yeah, I agree.
First one's the best one, but you know, this is me.
We talked about this on episode 1.
Yeah. Infinity War is a banger.
Yeah, it's so good.
Endgame is a bop, but I wanted a banger. Like that's how it is.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's so weird because like I don't know. I love both, and I definitely think of Infinity War is better. But I love Endgame. I love them both. I really do.
Dude, there ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm just too much of a critic.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeesh.
Okay, someone told me this was their favorite out of all of them. And I was just like,
why?
Awesome. I was like, cool. I wish it was mine, you know? It's like, that's like, cool. Okay.
Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp is the most existing film out of all of them.
It was
the one where, yeah, that was fine.
It was kind of nice after Infinity War, where it was like sad and sad and sad after the ending. So it was kind of nice, and then the end credits happened, and then it wasn't. So I was like, oh, it was sad again. But and
there are some fun moments, and
I don't remember a lot of it personally. It's hard. Like, it's hard. I feel like it was kind of an unnecessary sequel to me. Like, they're gonna do a third one, and I feel like they're doing it out of necessity, not just like we want to tell another story. That's how I felt with this one.
like business decision.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could do with it, and they do certain things with it. With like of course, it all leads into how time travel works.
Oh, yeah,
and,
it is
like,
definitely important for that.
how the scene where like he's like possessed by their
yeah, by Michelle
like,
Pfeiffer. That was funny.
it's like, yeah, that's great. It's just like, man, it feels like they didn't take the gimmick beyond what they did in the first one.
Yeah.
Which sucks because that's probably the biggest crutch the first one has.
Yeah. I think my gut says that I like Ant-Man and Wasp better than the first.
Really?
Like, that's my gut, but not by much. I think they're very close.
Yeah.
They're definitely lower on my list, but I like them. I don't have like strong feelings about them.
You're ready for one you have strong feelings about?
No.
Okay, Captain Marvel.
All right, disclaimer. I am not an anti-SJW. I do not hate Brie Larson. I do not hate the directors. I do not hate the writers. I do not hate the producers. I think the movie's fine. I have no problems with its agenda, its message, or anything like that. I just think the writing was pretty poor, and I did not understand what Carol Danvers, who she was. And I get that was the point, but it was weird, and Endgame didn't help.
I mean, I like...
The first thing I said when I walked out of this movie, and my sister and my mom were like, "What did you think?" I was like, "That was not Carol Danvers." And I'm not that type of person to go like, "Oh, not my Luke Skywalker, not my blah blah blah."
Canon.
But I don't know. I didn't know what this movie wanted to make me feel or think about or do. Like, I don't know. It felt so bland to me, and I hate that because like the movie starts at like an alien planet, and it's so awesome, and then they go to like this boring brown drab place, and then they go to Earth, and it's all 90s. Remember the 90s? And Carol's she's just there. She's not like, I don't know. I felt like the like, oh, she doesn't remember things really was not a good idea. I don't know.
Is Captain Marvel? I don't know, man. Like, I think this is why earlier I made the point about how every like good character in these movies is like quirky and witty.
Yeah.
Kind of an issue. But I feel like, man,
there's nothing for her, I feel like.
I don't know.
And it's especially weird because Endgame was actually her first movie that she filmed, right? They didn't film Captain Marvel till after Endgame, and so they kind of cut her, they snipped her off at the bud, right? Where it was like, if we do development here in Captain Marvel, it won't show up in Endgame. So it's just like, I felt like they didn't know what to do.
Captain Marvel 2 is going to be when I actually make like a statement on the character. But so far, it's like, okay, we could be in a Thor situation.
Yeah, I agree. It is, yeah.
And just like kind of not really that engaging.
Yeah.
Ways.
But it was like, at least Thor had like a character arc in the first movie where he went from point A to point C. Carol just kind of goes from point A to point A. I don't know. Like, her whole thing is like, don't use your emotions, don't like. But it's like every time she uses her emotions, she kicks ass and takes names, and then I don't know. Like, I get Jude Law was like technically not like her friend or whatever, but that was weird how he was. I don't know, man. I have a lot of issues with this movie, but I get what you're saying. Like, she has time to develop, and I get it. Especially after WandaVision, I have to say I'm definitely looking forward to what they do, but I don't know. Without saying much, I don't know. I hope they can do good stuff.
Yeah, Endgame we've gone on.
It's probably my favorite. Maybe not. I don't know.
I think it's mid.
Yeah, you think it's mid? Ooh. That's.
I mean, like, it's mid. Like,
okay,
it's up
fair.
Mid,
you know what? Fair.
Like, it's
fair.
good.
Fair.
I guess is what I mean by it. Not mid as in relative to Marvel.
Gotcha.
Like, it's fine. Like, it's good. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Heart from Foam. Sorry.
Also,
yeah, like, I liked it quite a bit when it was new. Like, I was actually pretty raving about it. I can't really say why. I just think I really enjoyed it.
Like it's good,
but like
it's fine.
I feel like the marketing was a big problem for it. Personally, I don't know. It was weird because the first trailer for the movie came out before Endgame, so it was like weird. It was so weird. So a lot of people were like, "Are they hiding stuff? Like what? Blah, blah, blah. Are they gonna? What's this gonna? You know?" A lot of people were thinking the movie was gonna be a lot more than it really was, and that Mysterio really was like from the multiverse and stuff like that, and that it would lead into Phase 4 with multiverse stuff. And so I get that wasn't at all what the movie was trying to do, and that was more of the marketing. But it was just weird, especially since Endgame, when they re-released it in theaters towards like the end of June or July or something. It was before Far From Home came out, and they had like extra stuff at the end of the movie. The one thing was like the first 5 minutes of Far From Home, where with Fury and Hill, and they're in Mexico with the elementals, and it was like, oh my god, that's so cool that they're fragments of the snap radiation. Oh no, they're just projections. It was like, oh, I don't know. So I feel like that's part of it for me on like a base level, but the movie itself, like what is Peter all about in this movie? I don't know.
Depression.
Yeah, like it definitely has. I feel like it has better balance of the Peter Spidey-ness. I don't know. Like the trip, like, oh, we're on a trip and I'm just gonna be me. Oh, I have to be Spider-Man now. Oh, I like that. But just I don't know. I'm not like the biggest critic of Iron Man Jr., but this movie I really felt it, where it was like, okay, can we move on from Tony Stark? And now that he's finally moved away from that, I really hope that he can stand on his own. Yes, I agree. I do agree. I do hope he can stand on his own after this, especially with how this movie ends. But
I hope the third one is good.
I hope. I really hope.
If the third one is good, then it's like sick. We have a solid trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. They called my creation Barf. Sorry. That I also felt like he's a good villain in the sense that he has a good screen presence, but his actual like motivation is crap. But well. He has a cool idea for a villain, like CGI magic show. Like that's cool. I like that. He's a modern Mysterio, but his motivation was a little weird. And I loved that the last movie in the Infinity Saga also contained the scientist guy from the first movie in the Infinity Saga. I like that. That was cool.
It's also one of those things where it's like, hey, look, the action scenes are pretty creative.
No, I agree.
That's always fun.
He even has a moment where he like picks up a car door shield like Captain America, and people like fangirled about that. I gotta ask, did the romance between MJ or whatever she's called and Michelle between MJ and Peter, like, what'd you think of that? Because I feel like that was a big part of the movie that I didn't really latch on to.
Like I don't know. It isn't. I like that it isn't like lovey-dovey.
Yeah, it's very like awkward cuteness.
It's very much like, hey man, I think you're pretty tight.
Yeah.
Man, I kind of think you're tight as well. And it's like, okay, we think each other tight.
I agree. I will say, like, I kind of expected more death. Like, I thought Ned was gonna die in this movie. I don't know why, but
I think what's happening is we're having like saga whiplash now.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we're going back to normalcy.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case.
Like Infinity War and Endgame, they were the weird ones.
Yeah, you're right. Although, like, I won't spoil. Man, WandaVision, it keeps coming up, but like there are elements of WandaVision that is like people talk about the snap and the blip and blah blah blah, like the time period between, the blip, and so it's like there are elements that they're talking about that I really hope they explore more.
I think we're gonna see ripples of it.
Yeah,
because I think Guardians 3 is very much gonna have.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. And I think Eternals hopefully will too.
I think Spider-Man is like it's kind of like the, it's the positive series,
Yeah.
How Spider-Man always is, where it's always pretty optimistic, but it has like that emotional core to it.
Yeah. I loved the scene at the very end, like, when he's in the tunnel and he has to like perfectly go through it, through the drones and stuff. Yeah, I really liked that. That was probably my favorite moment in the whole movie.
Dude, I really like the Mysterio scene where Spider-Man's just getting screwed up.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's so brutal.
yeah. And you also had the Skrulls in this movie, which was kind of weird. Like they came back, like that was neat. I did like that, how that interconnectedness.
The end credit? Wasn't that just the end credits?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like Talos was revealed at the right before the end. I think
Maybe.
I need to rewatch it, to be honest. I've not seen it since the theater, so
yeah,
I don't remember.
But like I don't know. It's like if there are two, like the two I think that are going to be like the fun, like optimistic, but with that emotional core series, I guess it's Guardians and Spider-Man. I guess that's my vibe, because those are my.
I will say, like, Guardians made me feel more, though.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. Like, I think about Far From Home now, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think at the time I gave it like a 4.5 on Letterboxd. Like, I really liked it, but I don't know.
I definitely that much.
The two Spider-Man movies, they've really kind of dipped for me. I don't know why. I think it's just because they're not really rewatchable. Like Homecoming, I've just seen so many times, and I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I mean, it's the kind of thing you want to avoid the I've watched this movie 13 times and it sucks now.
Yeah.
I've played this game sucks and isn't fun. I have 400 hours on.
Yeah, you're right. No, I feel you.
If you got that many watches out of it, then it's like, yeah, that movie's solid.
But it's like I've seen Infinity War and Endgame at least 10 times, and it's like,
and those are more solid.
Yeah.
But what are the movies you've seen once and are like, eh?
Yeah, oh, you're right. True. Like, well, actually, no. I've seen Rise of Skywalker 3 times, so I need to shut up. I saw it twice in the theater, and then I watched it on Blu-ray. So, hey, it was turned a year old. I thought I'd give it a go. Yeah.
Okay, let me just quickly think up what my 5 favorite are. I'm not gonna order it.
Yeah, just the bingo card of death. I know mine pretty much. For me, it's probably Civil War, Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, Endgame, Guardians 2. That's what I'm gonna go with. I usually Avengers 1 is up there, but I'm not feeling it today.
Yeah, I was thinking both the Guardians, Homecoming, Infinity War, and Ragnarok.
Yeah, no, that's a good list.
Yeah.
I gotta rewatch the 2 Spider-Man. I definitely have to rewatch Far From Home. It's been a hot minute.
I might too.
Almost been 2 years for me. Especially with, again, WandaVision, man, but one of the characters in the show kind of hints that they might go in the direction of the end of, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah. Worth watching it for that. But we shall see.
People are saying it's like multiverse actually this time, though.
So we know Doctor Strange is in it. We know that. We know that
its next movie is coming out before this.
Yes, right? So Multiverse of Madness is supposed to come out before it, and it's already filming. Both are filming right now, actually. They actually co-filmed scenes for 3, or what's it called? No Way Home. I hate that name.
I hate that name.
I don't like it.
I feel like, okay, we're gonna have an episode someday
about names. Yeah, I don't hate the name, but the home thing was cute. All right, it was cute at first, but
branding. Come on.
I know. It was like, what do you even call it, anyways? So it's kind of a rock and a hard place. No Way Home.
I mean, they are kind of screwed because you already have Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Yep, and an Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2. You're right.
Frankly, we want to avoid.
You're so right.
Because that's always the worst. You always want to avoid name parentheses 2018 parentheses.
Yes. Even no, you're so right.
That's the worst.
You're so right. Okay, I will retract my statement. The title's not that bad. But yeah, they've co-filmed scenes with Mr. Benedict Cabbage Patch because they had to film. Oh God, where were they filming? I'm gonna get it so wrong. Most of the movies are actually filming in Australia, which is weird, I know, but that's because COVID is not destroying their country, and they can actually film movies there without quarantining people. And so a lot of the studio stuff they're doing is in Australia, and so we know for a fact that Benedict Cumberbatch has been filming both Spider-Man 3 and Multiverse of Madness, and that Tom Holland has been filming Spider-Man 3, Natalie Portman's been filming Thor 4, and so it's like we know things about it, but we're not sure yet. So it'll be interesting.
I'm worried about Multiverse of Madness because that's like they're going for as well, and it's like, oh no.
I'm so excited. It's probably my most anticipated one right now. Like
I love Marvel, but they're not known for their subtlety. And for me, horror needs subtlety.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a horror vibe they're really gonna go for. Like they're like, oh, it's gonna be the first scary Marvel movie. I don't, whatever.
I'm just like, dude, if it's just full of jump scares and loud noises, it's gonna.
I mean, it's Sam Raimi, so we'll have to see, because he can do really good like environmental horror. I think personally,
Great.
And so we'll see. But I don't know. I was thinking about this, but it's like I hope.
Evil Dead.
I just hope that I don't know. I can kind of see where they're going with Phase 4 already, even with just WandaVision. I can kind of see where they're going, and I think Black Widow and Falcon and the Winter Soldier are going to be the big hump that the movies are going to have to get over. And then Phase 4, I think, with Eternals, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, I think it's going to be a fun ride. I really do.
What do you think we're building to? What do you think we're building to close it off?
Yeah. I think.
Are you going to join in with what everyone's thinking? At least I assume everyone is thinking, and we're going Galactus route.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking Galactus.
That's like the other big, like, cosmic level threat.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Not. Oh man. Why can't I not think of his name? Since they're doing multiverse, and one of the biggest. Oh god, what's his name?
Who?
He's a villain, and he's from the alternate Earth in the comics. Kang the Conqueror. That's what I think they're building up to. Because they're doing multiverse, and he's not from the original timeline. So personally, I think that's what they're gonna do, and maybe try and do like Apocalypse Twins or like Avenge the Earth. I don't know.
If you do that, because Fantastic Four has links to the one dimension that has like the bug dude from it.
Yeah.
Chaos dimension stuff, so that could work.
Yeah.
I think the scrolls are gonna be like a middle of the arc. Threat.
Yeah.
They're in Ultron.
They've definitely teased them in Far From Home and WandaVision.
Oh, they're Fantastic Four, aren't they?
Yeah. And a lot of people, and so they're doing Secret Invasion as well. So,
I mean, yeah, because that's like the Civil War of this.
Yeah.
Pump.
It's. I'm honestly like, I don't know. I've been like, I will say, when Phase 4 was first announced, I was kind of like, I was definitely excited, and there were projects that I was really, really looking forward to, like Guardians 3 and Thor 4 were like the first ones where I was like, oh, I can't wait, because those were the ties left over of Endgame, where it was like, oh, I can't wait to see more of that. But now that they're starting new storylines, I'm like, ooh. Part of me really hopes that like Eternals is in like during the post-snap worlds, kind of. I don't know if they're going to do that, and so it'd be really interesting to see the outer, galaxy with in a snapped world. I think that would be really cool, and that would also make the threat of the movie kind of like not as high stakes,
To introduce people. Who even are the Eternals?
They're actually a pretty low tier group.
I mean, I know obviously they're going to be low tier. Like, we have 2 low tier new series in this.
Yeah.
Phase 4.
And it's funny because
Celestials.
Yeah. The a lot of people are making memes because the two of the characters are played by people from Game of Thrones that were brothers, and so a lot of people are memeing that.
Yeah, that's Jon Snow, right?
Yeah, and Robb Stark. So yeah, it's supposed to come out later this year, which is crazy. So we'll see. I mean,
Black Widow was supposed to come out a year ago.
God, okay, that's the other thing. Is that movie coming out in May or whenever they want it to come out?
That's kind of early. I mean, things are going well.
Yeah, things are definitely on the downtrend, but
like in vaccines are coming out.
But May feels right around the corner.
I would say likely more mid-summer.
Yeah.
Early. August.
It sucks because WandaVision was supposed to air, and then like a month later was supposed to be Doctor Strange, and so it's like god damn it. But yeah, we got to be patient, you know. I will say it's been nice to have a break. I'll admit it really has.
Honestly, yeah, like after Endgame and Far From Home, I was very much like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, because like I think Far From Home came out, and then it was like July, September, boom, they announced everything Phase 4. Like, well, okay.
I was like, yeah, I'm good with just not watching these for a good while and just watching the ones I want to watch. Yeah. Now I'm still kind of in that vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Like Falcon and Winter Soldier, nah, thanks.
I don't care either. Like they're bringing back Zemo, but that's all. That's all it's got for me.
I'm okay.
That airs like next week.
Yeah, like I'm in the mood where it's like, you know what? When there's one with a character I like, yeah, I'll go watch it.
Yeah, fair. And I think, I mean, they've said that the Disney Plus shows aren't quote-unquote required viewing. And I don't know, they're probably going to do weird writing things for the movies. But it's like, after watching WandaVision, it's like, I don't know how they're going to explain things to an audience in the next movies.
But it's going to be developed filler.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like, what happens in the show doesn't feel like filler, you know? There are filler elements, but like the way it ends, it doesn't feel like filler. We'll see though.
Like, imagine it's gonna be like the jump between Thor from Thor 2 to Ragnarok, but now there's gonna be a show in the middle.
Yeah, fair.
See that?
Like, I mean, we'll have to see. We really will, because especially like the Loki show, I think especially
are out to make money. So
true. That's true.
Take them saying it's not required with a solid salt shaker.
That's true. That is true. I will say, like, I think the litmus test for the, you know, not required is depending what they do with the Loki show. Like, if they're doing what I think they're gonna do with it, then sign me up. But if they're not, then I don't care. So we'll see.
That's their biggest selling point right now, right?
Yeah, dude. I swear, people have been talking about the multiverse since freaking Infinity War. So it's like, people are chomping at the bits. So
people are ready to see.
People thought Far From Home was going to be a multiverse movie. Like, come on.
People are ready to see the same character talk to themselves. Like,
oh, you know that thing that happened in Endgame.
Do the funny bit of, oh, wait, you're me? No, but I'm
Spider-Verse did that before Endgame.
Time to do it again,
dude. Spider-Man 2099 is going to be in Spider-Verse 2, hopefully. Can you imagine? That would be great. We've gone on a bit long, and that's great. We talked about some wonderful things. And yeah, Gabe definitely watched WandaVision. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit on the show. I don't know. Yeah, but thanks for joining me as always. We'll definitely link the Epic Gamer profiles in the chat and in the description. And I'm not going to edit them in because I'm lazy and no one watches this show anyways. But with that, thank you all very much for watching, and we shall see you later. Peace out.